The following video was brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Save 10% on world-class hosting or any GoDaddy product when using the code POD88 at checkout. Now, the latest.
I will have to say that intro is very entertaining. Welcome to it. You are listening to the world famous Jiggy Jaguar Radio broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio today. 50 plus AM FM stations across the country and around the world. The Odyssey app, which I just always find terribly entertaining that we are on the Odyssey app. Also, iHeartRadio 24/7 over there at JiggyJaguar.com. And of course, you can download our on-demand archived audio because the radio industry won't let us say the P word. You can get that on iHeartRadio, TalkShoe, all the various places. And of course, live on AMFM247.com as well. BitChute, Rumble, all the various places. We have got a great guest to joining us today. He is amazing. Platform. When we had a guest on this woman on who kept telling us about how you could follow her on Pickax. She was promoting the crap out of this. And I'm like, what in the hell, Bobby, is a Pickax? And I did some research and I found out, and then I talked to my buddy AJ Rice and he hooked us up with Jeff today. So Jeff, thanks for being on the big broadcast. How are you, sir?
Doing really well. Thanks for having me on. Been looking forward to chatting with you.
So tell us about Pickax.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's start there, baby.
Yeah, totally. Well, so it's a social media platform, and I always say it's a social media platform. Imagine you had X and Substack had a baby with Rumble integration is basically the best way to describe it. So
awesome.
So you've got your typical social media stuff. The nice thing is that we don't do all the algorithmic manipulation that you get on the other platform. So if you earn an audience, they're actually going to see your content. We're not going to get in between you and your audience, and everything that we do is trying to find another point for you to be able to connect with the people that are following you. And so you've got you can post, you can write articles directly on the platform, you can post your Rumble videos, and they're playable in the newsfeed as if they're native to the platform. And then, in there, but you can still monetize on your Rumble videos as well. So you can kind of double dip as well, because we'll have our own monetization that's built into the platform. So you can monetize as a content creator, whole bunch of awesome things that we're developing too, that's coming down the pipeline. But to me, the really big pitch for joining Pickax is just the fact that, like, we're not going to manipulate your reach, which is what's happening on all these other platforms. They're artificially limiting your access to your audience. You feel like, hey, I earn an audience, whether it's 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000, 100,000, doesn't matter what the number is. Like, if somebody follows you, they should be able to see your content. You earned that follow. And these platforms, it almost feels like it doesn't matter how many people follow you anymore, because it matters, does the algorithm like you, not whether people like you.
That is awesome. Yeah, I will have to say that you are probably the second head of a platform that I've had on this show. We're going into it. I had an account there. I'd heard about you, but I didn't know what the hell this was. Because that happened when I had somebody on fairly recently who was promoting another project, but apparently he was the guy that ran Clout Hub. Yeah. And I used to promote all the time on this show. I'd be like, we're on Clout Hub, whatever the hell that is. And I didn't know at the time that he was the guy that ran Clout Hub. And so when I did the line, he's like, oh, I can tell you what that is. and one of the things that I noticed about him is that same thing on his platform. He did not use an algorithm or any of this stuff, because I always find it odd that our videos on BitChute and Rumble and all these places, we don't really get a lot of views over there. But yet when I put something on Clout Hub, that thing's up within like 30 minutes, and I've got like 500,000 people that have watched the video. And I'm like, this can't be real. This is a work. And the thing is that they're not throttling anything. So I think that's awesome that you're not doing that either over there on Pickax. I think that is awesome. You should be commended, sir.
No, I think, and also, like Todd Callender. I'm friends with Todd, who's the CEO of
Yeah.
and owner of Clout Hub, and he's
Yep.
awesome. And I remember I talked to him right when I announced that I had first started, when I was starting to build out Pickaxe, and he gave me some great advice. We've even had some meetings recently on figuring out how can we cross promote and find different ways of integration between our platforms with Clout Hub and Pickaxe and stuff, because
Yep.
we're very like minded when it comes to like our goals and what we're trying to accomplish there. And so,
Yep.
I think with Todd, with what he's done with Clout Hub, and Jeff Brain, who's the guy who created it, who I was also friends with before he passed away.
Yeah.
But what they developed with Clout Hub was really getting a whole bunch of tools to kind of replace Facebook. And so like whereas we kind of targeted the Substack X crowd, and so now it's kind of like, okay, so now let's use our platforms to further messages, get free speech further out there. And and Todd and I have said multiple times, like, we don't see each other as competition. We just see each other as we offer different tools for a lot of the same people.
Yep. I think that's awesome. So one of the things that I love about what you're doing over there is that I have started to hear about you from all sorts of different people. And I didn't even know Pickaxe existed until I started having various people on the show. And at the end of the interviews, I always, have everybody do their plugs. And I started having all these people promoting the fact that they were on Pickaxe. And at one point, I'm like, what in the hell is Pickaxe? So I finally went over. I think it's awesome that you haven't had to do any advertising. You basically had the people that are on your site going around and doing the advertising. I think that's great.
Yeah, well, it's been fun because really the only advertising that we've really done, we've done some. Rumble has a new live read advertising program where advertisers can actually pay to have people do live reads. So that's been
awesome.
our one form of advertising, and because my thought process is like, okay, so I would rather pay the creators to promote our product than just pay a platform to advertise, kind of a thing, right?
Yes.
So we're paid creators. It kind of fits in with our mission, which is to really give creators a platform and monetization and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because like on the back end, on the main dashboard for Rumble, I can go and I can see the clips of them doing the live reads, and so that way I can decide, do I want to do it again with them or not, and all that. And it's funny because the first time they'll do the live read, and then all of a sudden I see the light bulb go off over their head. They're like, oh, maybe I should set up an account myself. And they're like selling themselves, just doing the live read. So it's been fun. But we also do have a really good like referral program as well, built within Pickaxe. So we give each individual user their own referral link, and then they can go around and begin to promote Pickaxe, because then they can build their following on the platform. We've got different incentives and some merch and some different things if you refer a certain number of people, and it's been really successful, which is awesome because I don't have to go around spending hundreds of thousands of dollars advertising a platform. People are enjoying it, and then they're going around and sharing it with their friends and building it up, and it's been a lot of fun to see.
That's awesome. So we've got a great guest with us today, and I definitely know I'm gonna butcher your last name, sir, so I apologize. Jeff Dornik is with us today.
Exactly right.
Holy smokes! Usually I am Jiggy Jag, the Ugly American, and I am butchering everybody's freaking name. Doesn't matter if they're from the United States or not. I butcher everybody's name. But he joins us today. He is the Pickaxe CEO, and he joins us today here on our big program. So what fascinates me also about Pickaxe, and you brought this up earlier, is the integration with Rumble. Because there's so many of these sites out there that they don't really integrate with Rumble. And they want you to do stuff on, like, if you're going to upload a video, you're going to upload it on their thing.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to do this or whatever, you're on their thing. And I think it's awesome that you are integrated with Rumble. So talk to us about that whole process.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's actually, this whole thing stemmed from a conversation that I had with Todd Callender, like we were talking about earlier, over at Clout Hub.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation about about how expensive it is to host live streaming and do video for Cloud Hub, and he was like, if I can just
ask Alex Jones how expensive
exactly
it is.
exactly. And so Todd was like, if I can just give you one piece of advice, he's like, I would just tell you, don't even enter into the live stream space until you have the revenue coming in, or in order to justify, adding that new feature. Because he's like, that's very easily, without that many people, it's going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just to do live streaming and hosting. And then you got to host the video pretty much forever, whether or not people watch it again. So it's a very expensive process. So then I started brainstorming. I'm like, okay, so we're a social media platform. How do you have video? Because that's something that everybody wants. And then I sat down with my dev team and we figured out, well, what we could actually do is we could just make it to where if you post a link to a Rumble video on our platform, it'll automatically embed the video to make it playable in the newsfeed. And we also figured out a way, because we're dropping the app here in the next couple of weeks as well. The web version's out right now. We're going to be, as far as I know, the only social media platform with the app with the Rumble videos that are playable in the newsfeed as well. And so we figured out how to do that. And they were like, well, then people are getting frustrated because it's like, okay, they go live over on Rumble and then they copy and paste the link and then they come over to Pickaxe and they post it. And then, it's like, it's an extra process when you're trying to start a live stream. So then we figured out, well, there's actually a technological solution to that. We can actually make it to where if you can connect your Rumble channel to your Pickaxe account as a creator on our platform, and then it will auto post. So anytime that you go live or post a new video on your Rumble channel, it'll automatically post. It'll take the title as well and post that as the subject, and it'll automatically post. You don't have to do anything. And then now all of a sudden, now you're live streaming through Rumble on Pickaxe, and anybody that's on Pickaxe can now watch it. And it's interesting because there was one person who they run an account on Pickaxe called Mastering Rumble, and they just give tips and how to thrive on Rumble and all that. And so they actually did a test without telling me. And so they took an old video of theirs that was posted on Rumble, and then they posted it onto Pickaxe to see, okay, like, is this actually helping? Like, do we benefit from it? And they actually did went and looked at the analytics on Rumble, and they figured out just by posting that old video, again, with our minimal audience, because we've done very little advertising and promoting, we're still technically in pre-launch. They posted it onto Pickaxe, and they got 600 new views on that one video just by posting it on Pickaxe. And the crazy thing,
amazing.
And they were concerned that, okay, if we post it, but are we taking away our own revenue because they do like monetized views on Rumble and they run ads and all that? And they're like, no, it's 600 monetized views that they gained by posting on a Pickaxe. And here's the really crazy thing. If you're on X or you're on Facebook or you're on any of these other platforms and you post a link to Rumble, you get demoted in the algorithms because they don't want you leaving their platform. So it's very difficult, if not impossible, to build a Rumble channel through X or through Facebook or through any of these platforms because they don't want you to do that. So then you get dinged in the algorithm. So what we did is we're like, okay, cool. You got a Rumble channel? Great. Post, promote as much as you possibly want. You're never going to get dinged in the newsfeed. It's playable in the newsfeed as well. And so now we're getting all these Rumble gamers, we're getting all these live streamers and all that kind of stuff because they're like, we have nowhere else to go where we can actually promote our shows.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. Jeff Dornik is with us. He is the CEO of Pickax, and he joins us today here on our big broadcast. So, why the name Pickaxe?
So it was interesting because I didn't want something that was too on the nose. And again, no shade to like Truth Social, but that was a little too on the nose for me.
Yeah.
And so I was
because the problem with like Truth Social is it's like, what? And like when you post things on there, because we post things everywhere. Yeah. You truthed it or you truthed it if you're Trump, and it's like, what is this? Yeah. And so I'm go ahead. I didn't catch up.
Totally. Well, so we wanted something that wasn't too on the nose. And I wanted to be able to, turn it into a verb, like you were mentioning with truth. It's awkward. It's like even with X, what do you do? Like what do you do with X? Or how do you turn that into a verb? So we figured out, okay, so if you're on Pickaxe and you like something, you pick it. If you don't, you axe it, and so you actually have the pick button and the axe button. So that's built in, so that's great. And but then I wanted something, because we are a free speech platform, and free speech is messy. Free speech is difficult. Free speech is not just the easy.
As I have learned over the years.
Yes. and so for us, it's like, okay, I wanted something that more emoted like manual labor. Let's get in the trenches. Let's do this dirty work of like conversing and debating and discussing. Let's dive into the nuance of conversations and disagreements without hating each other and all that. So there's that side of things, but then also it's also the manual labor and the intensity of really chipping away at the power and the control that big tech has over us in all these different ways. So for us, our mission as a platform is we're going to look at where does big tech have a hold over us, and then we're going to try to figure out how do we free people from that hold. And so we're just going to continually pick away at the power that they have over us and come up with new technological solutions in order to overcome that. So that's really kind of all that kind of went behind the name Pickaxe.
That's awesome. So Jeff Dornik is with us from Pickax, and he joins us live here on our big program. So one of the things that I like about all these various conservative social sites, as I call them, they all have their own little thing, but a lot of them, it's like they really want to be Facebook. They really want to be Facebook. And the thing I like about what you guys are doing is that you went another spot. You're like, we're going to go after the Substack people. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome, because, you could go down the list. I'm just looking at all the windows that I have open of all the various conservative sites, and I'm like, they all look like Facebook. So I'm glad that you just were like, we're gonna go after the writers and the people like that. So, and with the video, you've got the video people and the writers, and everybody else. Go do something else. We'll integrate you in at some point.
Exactly. Well, it's like we're going for more of like the long form content, because I want to bring back nuance. Like I would much rather. I'm so sick of just everybody firebombing tweets that just gets everybody pissed off and playing to echo chambers and all that. But also, like, when we went into launching this, and I was very clear with like my investor, I was very clear with my team as well, that with all these other social media platforms, Getter, and I know a lot of the CEOs of them, I've had them on my show, I've talked to them over the years, but like Getter, Gab, Truth Social, Clout Hub, they
whatever the hell that is,
all of them, they all got big very fast, because all these people were getting kicked off of social media. They had nowhere else to go. So all they needed was a home. All they needed was a social media platform. So what ended up happening is that these platforms would try to create an alternative to the big tech platforms. And they would be like, okay, well, we need video. Let's do video. It was never quite as good as what you had on these other platforms, but at least it's free speech and all of that. With us, I knew going into it, we're not dealing with people getting kicked off of social media in the same way that they used to. We're dealing with people being shadow banned. So they still have places to go. So I have to entice them, not just by having, oh, here's a platform you can come to because you have nowhere else to go. It's, I have to entice you with something that is better than what's out there. And so I think that for us, it's like, okay, cool. So you're never going to be manipulated with the algorithms. Great. You can promote your Rumble channels. Great. We've got 3 different forms of monetization that we're having built into the platform at the launch of the app. Great. Now you can monetize, and I believe even more effectively than you'll get on these other social media platforms. And then you can write articles built in. We're going to be rolling out by the end of the year an email newsletter feature that will rival Substack as well, to where you can build an email list built into a social media platform, and then now you have direct access to your audience. And again, no chance of anybody else getting in the middle between you and your audience. So we're developing all these things, and so when people look at Pickaxe, it's okay, I can see the vision, I can see where you're going, and the features are offering me something that I don't have on these other big tech platforms, as opposed to having just a cheap knockoff.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. Jeff Dornik is with us from Pickaxe. So besides Pickaxe, what else are you involved in?
So besides Pickaxe, I've been hosting a show for several years. And it's called the Jeff Dornik Show. I've been blessed to interview everybody from like Ron Johnson to Kash Patel and Flynn and like all the kind of the usual suspects. But one of my favorite guests are a lot of the COVID doctors that I've been like Dr. Pierre Kory is one of my favorite people to just kind of like pick his brain. Karen Kingston's great friends. And so I've hosted a show, and I just love, because I'm curious. I love just exploring ideas and having conversations, and I go into every single interview without a script, without any idea of what we're going to talk about, and then I just am curious, and so I just ask questions, kind of a thing. So I've run a podcast network that kind of coincided with that over the years, and now I'm kind of integrating that into Pickaxe. So we're actually going to be making an announcement soon where we're going to have an actual Pickaxe podcast network that'll be built in, help with distribution of like audio podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But I've also written a couple of books that I've kind of co-authored, and I was the general editor of, as well as I'm writing a book right now called Following the Leader that'll be out here soon as well. And for me, really, I think a lot of what drives me is, trying to figure out what the truth is, understanding that like it's probably not in really like neither political party truly has a monopoly on the truth. One political party, I would argue, is closer to the truth than the other, but we get a lot of lies and a lot of misinformation from all the sides. And I find myself, as I'm looking at issues, that I'm not really aligned fully with anybody out there, and I have my own kind of like nuanced opinions. And so I think that, everything I do, from writing to hosting a show to Pickaxe and all these different things, it's kind of coming from that different perspective of like, let's actually do this messy business of discussion and debate and get down to like what is objective truth? What do we actually believe? What's our worldview? And so like that's a lot of what kind of drives me in all my different endeavors that I do.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast.
I think we're losing you. I can't hear you. It sounds like your mic cut out almost.
I am experimenting with StreamYard, and StreamYard is I don't know. It is interesting. Talk to us about your latest book. You have a book that's available for pre-order.
So following the leader is available for pre-order right now. It should be out here really soon, but but the whole premise of the book, it started out like in the book. I believe it was in I forget which one it was, maybe Social Injustice. I think I wrote about the cult of no, it's actually in the book Church and State: How the Left Used the Church to Conquer America. I wrote a chapter in there about the evangelical cult of personality, and within that chapter, it was really taking a look at how some of these mega church evangelical pastors were using their positions almost like as a mini cult leader, and it was like people were finding their identity in their favorite pastor, and which leads to if a pastor goes wrong in one area, his whole entire congregation, his entire following will follow him and fall into error, even if it's well intentioned and all that. And so I wrote about how we don't need to find our identity in a pastor, but in the Bible, in our worldview, in our belief system. Follow that. Don't follow a person, because they're going to fail you at some point. Well, so that was within the evangelical world, but then I saw a lot of the same tactics, going into play in the political world, in culture, in society as well. And so I started, getting curious about this. I'm like, so why does this tactic keep coming up over and over and over again? So I dive into it from a biblical standpoint, diving into the theology. The Apostle Paul condemned this kind of mentality repeatedly in Scripture. But then also I started diving into the cults, things like Scientology, things like Jim Jones and Charles Manson and all of that. And it's really interesting because they all, when you actually dive into it, a lot of them have very close ties with intelligence agencies. And you're just like, okay, something's going on here. And so then my theory that I explore and I'm kind of fleshing out in the book is, were these cults, that had direct ties with a lot of intelligence agencies, were they actually testing grounds for a lot of these kind of manipulations and propaganda and mind control and, these kind of cult mentalities and stuff? Was this actually like kind of testing grounds for them to see, how do we take a random Joe Schmo off the street and then believe something absolutely crazy or do something horrific that they wouldn't normally do, right? Like a lot of the people that got caught up with Charles Manson, before they met Charles Manson, they were just normal people. Like there's everyday people going about their lives, and then they got converted by Manson. Same thing, like you look at Scientology. They've got some pretty wacky beliefs that, like, if when you go down Hollywood Boulevard in downtown Hollywood, literally they've got people, Scientologists, that are out there proselytizing, and hey, you want to come in and you do an auditing session and all that. They get you on self-improvement, but they don't start off with the fact that they actually believe that aliens drop into the Pacific Ocean, climb up the beach, and then indwell human beings. And that's why there's so many Scientologists in Los Angeles. They don't start with that. They build up to that. And when we're seeing the same thing happen in society today, where it's like, they start off with a very basic lie, and then they build on top of that, build on top of that, build on top of that. We saw that in COVID. We saw that with BLM. We see that with all these different things. But then also and this happens on the right too, where you begin to find your identity in a particular person, and then that person can lead you astray, again, whether intentionally or not. It's a critique that I have of the MAGA movement. And again, I voted for Trump. I like the guy, but there is a certain segment of the MAGA base that they find their identity in Donald Trump, and they're flip-flopping their positions as Donald Trump flip-flops his positions. That's a concern. Where is your truth? Does your truth lie in your favorite person, or does your truth lie in your belief system, in objective truth, in something that you can point to that's outside of ourselves? So that's really what I'm diving into the book and really trying to fully flesh out.
That's awesome. We have got Jeff Dornik with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. He is the CEO of Pickax. And Jeff, I appreciate you making some time for us today. Thanks for coming on. I definitely want to have you back because you are amazing, my friend. And I just appreciate you making some time for us today. Thanks for being on. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. And there he goes. That is Jeff from Pickax. And that is that. We appreciate you joining us today here on the program. And we'll see you next time.